Good day, mate. It is me, Matt Hansel, the host of Common Enemies. And today's episode, I'm sitting down with Ryan Thomas. Ryan Thomas, you'd never guess it, is a comedian. And he's a very funny one. You can see him all over New York City, Grizzly Pear, Tiny Cupboard, Stand Up New York, Comedy Shop. He's very funny. Go check him out. This episode, we talk about Little League and all the sorts of fucked up shit that comes with it, like crazy parents, Little League World Series, betting on Little League World Series, and then we argue about which would be better, dying of an overdose or dying of being murdered. I had a very fun time with it. He is a very handsome man, and you should acknowledge that when you watch, and when you listen, you should think of him as a handsome man. Please enjoy the episode. So Little League, when did you start playing Little League? Like sort of just to get some context.
When does one start Little League?
I feel like
right after T-ball. Like I didn't do T-ball.
You didn't do T-ball?
No, my parents were like, that's dumb. That's too easy.
It is kind of dumb. It doesn't I mean, I guess you practice swinging the bat, but there's no...
My parents didn't respect T-ball.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that takes a lot of integrity as a parent.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of parents will like throw their kids into like for the social aspect, that sort of thing. But like as far as a pure sport fanatic, yeah, T-ball is stupid.
Which now that I think about it, I don't really know why they had such a hard line. You know, like when you're a kid, for the most part, unless it's like wanting ice cream or candy, like what your parents tell you is like the viewpoint that you adopt. And they were kind of hard about, like, they weren't super intense sports parents by any means, but they were just like, yeah, why would you do T-ball if the ball doesn't move? And I was like, yeah, that is dumb. Everyone that does T-ball is inferior to me.
That's a cool like place to take as a young child too, is like building that superiority over your peers for like odd reasons. It was like, yeah, because you can like bring that point up where it's like, it's also, you're kind of in a different light, like the first kid to know Santa's not real. Oh, where it's like, this is ridiculous that you guys are holding any weight into this.
Was that you?
No, I honestly was late to Santa, if I'm being honest.
What's late? Like, is fourth grade late?
I was right before 11. I think I learned it in fifth grade.
Oh.
And I was like, I remember feeling really dumb too. I was like, fuck, it does make no sense. Like,
I think it's whenever you get to middle school is late.
Yeah.
So like for me, middle school was 7th grade. For some people, it's 6th grade. But definitely middle school is like, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad for you if you find out.
So I think Little League typically starts at like 7 or 8. So I imagine...
It sounds true.
I feel like you have your facilities a little bit more in order. You're like probably definitely not pooping your pants on accident a little bit still.
Yeah, no. It was few and far between at the time. I think I started in... Is it farm? What's the first one? There's like T-ball.
So I've found that different areas... I've even like the state called it different things. So for me, it was... Yeah, like farm, but we called it minor B, minor A, and then majors.
Oh, interesting.
So, but I know other people where they do it like the actual MLB farm system, where it was like,
like AAA,
single A, double A, triple A, majors sort of thing.
Oh, I guess it depends on how serious like your area was about baseball. Then maybe
my area was like. We were good too. Like we had 2 teams play in like the regional Little League World Series, like back-to-back years.
Wait, where are you from again?
Napa.
Oh, okay. We were in the same general vicinity.
Where are you from?
San Jose.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I feel like the Bay Area, at least. No, I feel like the Bay Area had like a good baseball culture, I guess you could call it that at the time. Like it was successful. I feel like we had a lot of teams do well at that time.
Dude, I don't know what happened this year because like we were kids, so they didn't tell us everything. But there was one year where it was kind of weird in Little League. Like you had a sense of like how good you were and your team was and like your general area was. Like you had kind of a good beat on it. And like there was one year for like our all-star team where we were like, yo, we're good. We're like
against the other kids.
Yeah, like we have a fantastic. We're great at this. But for whatever reason that year, like they just capped us at the tournament. Like there was no moving on. So like we played whatever tournament was like for the Bay Area and we won it, but there was just nowhere to go afterwards for whatever reason.
I hate that.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
It was very sad.
So I feel like if you were on the All-Star team, you were like a decent player then.
I was a really good athlete and a decent player. It was mostly my speed.
Yeah, I was more or less the same. I was always the smallest kid, which made me overly competitive. Like I definitely had little man syndrome for sure.
Yeah.
But it also, I felt like, made it more fun.
There were a lot of good little kids in Little League. Like I remember like a lot of small kids being great at baseball.
Well, because I think so much of it is like hand-eye coordination.
Oh.
And
smaller
speed.
lever.
Yeah, and like also there's fucking missed throws every other play. Like if you can just run to first base fast enough before they can pick up the ball that was thrown against the fence, you should be fine.
Yeah, and you actually don't even need high top end speed because like the base distance is so short. You just got
60 feet. Did you have any? Because my like favorite memories of Little League are like the batshit insane kids and the batshit insane parents.
Oh, you had batshit insane kids?
And like, yeah, like because there was such like Napa has like, it's very nice, but it has like a dark underbelly to it where.
Because you have that story about how like what's her name got like a kid's mom got outed for her drug addiction because during Little League games
a kid's mom would wait until Little League games would start because she knew like other parents would be gone, which is like it's like okay, so like Kathy just got surgery for her hip, right? She has 20 Norco at home. She is going to look at or go to Adam's game at 4:30. So Lisa, let's call her, knows that Kathy's going to be gone from 4:30 to 6:30. There's a window where no one will be home, so she would go and take the pills while they were out. And I don't know how long this went on, but I think it was like a year and a half. It was like anywhere from like 8 to 18 months, if I had to guess.
Do we know how she busted in?
They're like, so that's another thing is like Napa's a pretty, for the most part, safe area.
Yeah.
So people might leave their doors unlocked. A lot of people have like a specific door that they leave unlocked that they can just like go and like that's like, if the kid forgets a key
or it's just some simple under the mat type shit.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of that. Or I think she like had tricks. She got caught a couple times, but
she got caught a couple times.
But her husband was part of the sheriff's department.
Oh.
So there was always like that was like obviously like the cream of the crop as far as like Little League.
Batshit crazy parents?
Yeah. But there was like always like everyone was kind of just a little nuts. And I'm glad I felt like my parents were really well behaved in comparison. Cause like, like parents would take a 10-year-old baseball game so seriously. And like a lot of the umpires, and I umpired for a little bit, are like teenagers. So I'd be umpiring a Little League game. I'm 2 years older than the kids playing sometimes. And I have a 45-year-old man losing his shit, cussing me out because I am calling balls and strikes not the way he wants them to be. So it's like,
dude, I didn't really realize at the time because like I feel like as a kid, most kids like don't question too much, right? So at the time, if it's a crazy parent, like they have to be like insane, batshit nuts for you to be like, yo, what is this parent on, right?
Yeah.
And even the ones that weren't like that didn't register in retrospect, why do you care?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it depends on the area. Like for Napa, I always contextualized it as being kind of a Napa thing. Because I've talked about this with other people and like, it depends on which area the person's from about like, oh yeah, this like, I've talked to people from Buffalo where it's like, yeah, like parents were kind of nuts sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I've talked to people from like cities, like Buffalo's a city, but like an LA or a New York. And it's like, like you kind of, but not like quite. I think it's when it's smaller it
Yeah.
sort of takes up a little bit more of like your worldview sort of thing. So it's like there's a lot more weight into it.
Yeah, it's like how in LA fans are the shittiest fans of all time.
Yeah, because they don't. Yeah, there's so much other shit.
If
to
your team
do.
loses, life is still good, baby.
Yeah,
like everything is fine.
It's still 70 degrees. I can go to the
sun's
beach.
still shining.
There's restaurants open. Yeah, it's all good.
Your life isn't attached to it.
But like little Billy fucking gives up 9 runs in a little league game, and his dad's gonna let him know about it when he gets home because there's nothing else. There's a couple like Napa's got nice restaurants, but it's like there might just be intensity in that like Mexican restaurant or whatever they're at. Like,
you know, I just realized is like the little league organization is an enormous sprawling enterprise that touches like every town in America.
Yeah, like I mean, you have like you do have like the Little League World Series where it's like a massive like international event where you collect 12-year-olds from all over the world. And I mean,
get over here.
Yeah, literally, it's
you're
like
a big guy, aren't you? You're only 12. When's your birthday? December. Wow.
Yeah, we're not gonna
just meet the cutoff, didn't you? Get over here.
Yeah, we're not gonna pay you, but yeah, come make us millions of dollars. Like people bet on it. Like it's
people bet on the league.
Yeah,
of course
for sure.
They do. People bet on everything.
I know so many of like my gambling addict friends are like they take the Little League World Series. That's their World Series because as a gambling addict, you have the least intel. So whatever pick you're making is like, it's the biggest rush because you're like, I think the Japanese 12-year-olds are going to be the shit this year. Like they definitely are going to kick Ohio's ass. And like, they're like, but like, it's just shit like that where like it makes it more fun. And honestly, if I get it, like I'm not a gambler, like gambling doesn't like really get me off, but that does sound more fun than like, oh yeah, the Bills are going to beat the Jaguars because like the talent's there. They're a better coach team. I don't know how someone's dad is going to be at leading a group of 12 to 13-year-olds in a game of baseball. I don't know when the last time he played. I don't know what his credentials are. So I get why it would be more fun, but it is crazy how like what pedestal it's been like put on because it is just children playing a game. For some reason, I mean, it happens with other sports, but it hasn't been commercialized in others as quite as well.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, I think hearing you talk about it, I think the appeal of betting on like Little League is it's like betting on professional sports, like mixed with like cockfighting.
Yeah.
You know? Because it's like, I don't know, I just like the way this rooster looks.
Yeah.
Or like fucking turtle racing. You're like, I think this turtle is going to get to the end faster.
That chicken had a swagger to him that I didn't know existed in a chicken before. And I think that chicken has that dog in him is essentially what it turns.
Yeah, you're like, I think the Japanese got that dog in them.
Yeah,
like, or is that the Chinese? It's like, I don't remember, I hope it's.
But I think they got it.
Also, the idea of, have you ever been with your friends when they're watching it and like they put like too much money down on Little League World Series?
No. And now I realize I'm kind of bummed.
Dude, right? The idea of them like cussing out fucking Tommy Jenkins.
Yeah, because in general, I love watching. And it's kind of sadistic, but I love watching like a big gambler lose.
Yeah.
Because it is like, fuck! Like they just picked one side and now they're out X amount of dollars. It depends on.
It's so funny when it's not you.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
Especially if it's been you before. Like I've never been a big gambler, but like in Vegas, I would play blackjack and every once in a while, like roulette. And like the first few times I went, I was probably up, I don't remember, like around $1,000 over like a few visits, maybe even a couple grand. I was like up, like
you were up.
I was like, man, I'm good at Vegas.
Yeah.
And that was like my first 2 or 3 years going. And then like lifetime, like I haven't gambled in like the last 2 or 3 years since I've gone to Vegas because I was like, I'm bad at Vegas now. I'm sure like lifetime I'm down at least $1,000, if not like a couple. And I was like, okay, all right. I give up.
Yeah, they got me.
Yeah, blackjack isn't fun anymore.
That's what really like sets apart the addicts from the not is because winning's fun. Like just being competitive, winning, that is an enjoyable thing. Losing, like, how do you...
Being right and getting paid for it?
It's, dude, I love being right.
Oh wow, that's the appeal. I never even thought of it that way.
It's that, but it's also like, yeah, it's
Rush.
right. It's the rush, and it's also like quasi future telling, where it's like it's my own intuition. You can kind of hold a point of ego in it as well.
Yeah, you feel like you've tapped into the matrix, and you're like, I see what's going on.
I see those Japanese kids, and they're good. All right,
dude, this kind of makes me want to like. I would be down. I don't think I want kids, at least not right now. But anyway, I would be down like if like my close friends have kids and like they're at Little League, like just go to the game,
bet on it,
and just like be making like little side bets on like this little guy, because you already know there's gonna be kids that you hate, even though they're only like 8 years old. You're like, you suck, and I want to bet against you.
And that was one thing that I like with both parents and kids. It's like I should be allowed to feel that they are like a bad person.
Yeah.
I feel like in Little League there is like everyone's sort of like pent up and angry, but it's like, no, Kyle sucks. Like he's a bad teammate. he is like he's like mopey all the time. He's kind of rude to everyone, but like doesn't have that like I'm the best on the team sort of like pass to get by. Like this kid sucks, and he's
not adding anything. He's only subtracting. He's
like,
a negative.
And same with coaches. I would like that was another thing. As I feel like when I was in Little League, I'd pick up that I was like, I don't think Sean's dad knows what he's talking about. Like I don't.
Do you think that's because like you were precocious and intuitive, or do you think like Sean's dad was that aloof?
I think I was kind of a know-it-all, a little. I'm not like too bad, but I was like coachable. But I would still be like,
you're like a baseball know-it-all or like a know-it-all?
A little bit of both, but like I was always a know-it-all and stuff that I cared about.
Oh, okay.
Like I always felt like if I was like focused on something, I was like, I kind of have a feel for this. Even at like 9. I was like, fucking.
Even at 9.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, these fucking. Sean's dad isn't with it all the way, is he? And then kids were like, I don't think you're allowed to say that. And I was like, no, I know, but you kind of get the feeling though, right? Like he's kind of like he is kind of aloof. Because I don't know, there is in any field, there is people that are aloof and somewhat like lost a little bit. You've worked with them, you've been coached by them. Like, you know that there's coaches or like any sort of leader that are like cream of the crop, like, damn, like you're impressed by them. And similarly, it's only natural that there would be people that are also bad at it, where it's like
their only qualification is that they're an adult who raised their hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you don't have to. There's no real interview.
Yeah, no.
And it's for this, is there?
And then I think growing up is realizing that it was just some dad who had the time to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like other dads were working or knew that parenting 12 other kids wouldn't be fun. Because I feel like I feel like the best coaches always enjoyed it the most. And the worst coaches are like, I felt like were either too like intense, where it was like
they cared about winning too much.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, yeah, it's the coaches, it's the parent. Like there is like a really intense culture of like, you can't fuck up, dude. You're 11. Everything is writing on this. And it's like, I guess so. And then I'd take that on too. Like my parents weren't too bad with that, but like I'd have really intense coaches, and it was like, yeah, we have to be first place this year. Otherwise, you never knew what, but like it's terrible.
But it felt like a bad thing. It felt like a floor is lava situation.
It's dire.
Dude, I got lucky with my coaches. Like I remember I pretty much became friends with all the kids of my coaches. But like my best coach that I had for like 2 or 3 years was when I made it to the majors.
Hell yeah.
In what, like 4th, 5th grade, whenever that is?
Yeah, that would,
shit like that.
4th, yeah.
And yeah, because I think it was like 10, 11, and 12. So I made it when I was 10. And this is like to this day, like still my best friend. And like his dad was dope because like, I don't know how much he cared about winning, but like in my mind, our team didn't really give a shit. Like we were just out there to dick around and have a good time. And
then you were good?
I don't remember ever being bad. I feel like we were every year either average to above average.
All right, I think that's a good spot to be in
Yeah.
because I was always on like the top 1 or 2 teams, like always, yeah.
Wow.
Which was lucky, but also like
Was it luck, or was it little 11-year-old you?
No, I was never I was an energy guy. I was
a hustle player.
I was a hustle player.
Put your body on the line for the team.
But I was a good leadoff hitter. I was fast. I loved fielding. I was center fielder. Loved running all over the field, making diving catches. But I was never had the best arm. I was never like a power hitter. But I was like, let's try and make this fun because it can be. And like there was so many like intense adults where I was like, no, like I'm gonna do the worm for my boys right now because because then it's like, all right, sick. There's like good energy going around, and now
it's time for the worm.
Yeah, now it's like
I can feel it.
Yeah, like when you're 11 and your boy just does some crazy shit, you're like, God, I'm so happy right now. Like especially when you have all this like weird external pressure.
Yeah. Fucking diving catches in the infield were the coolest thing you'd ever seen.
So, I mean, yeah, that, so yeah, I was an energy guy, but like I was always on like the top 1 or 2 teams. And that came with like a super competitive nature around like the parents and everything where, there was one time where like my best friend, his older brother was umpiring the game.
Yeah.
And one of my other like really good friends, his dad blew a like literally swung the dugout fence door open and like sprinted across the field and got like the kid's 17 years old at the time. He's a 40-year-old man. He's like in his face telling that he's gonna like beat his ass. And like it was that kind of intensity for Little League. Yeah.
Whoa. That's so sad.
Yeah, no, I mean, but at the same time, if you not like kids would get scared because obviously that's insane.
Yeah.
But there were like a couple like twisted kids like me or other kids where it was like, dude, you see fucking Mike fucking lose his shit right there? Like that was kind of funny. Like scary for sure, but like how you don't see that at every little
one
game.
Thing can be multiple things, and that was scary and also pretty fucking fun.
Yeah, no, that was like, whoa.
That's right. There was a kid on my team. I don't remember his last name, but I remember his name was Kenny. I think his dad's name was Kenny as well. And Kenny was like very good. He wasn't incredible, but he was like, I think it was like, he'd make the all-star team and shit.
For sure.
And we liked Kenny. But Kenny was intense. And we realized Kenny was intense because Kenny's dad was intense.
Yeah.
And he definitely got it directly from him. And when things didn't go well, like, I mean, obviously we wouldn't be happy about it. We'd be like, damn it. Oh, well, what are you going to do? But Kenny would be like, yeah,
you like.
And there was something as a kid, if you were like somewhat normal, even in like normal school, the kid that was the rage monster was so fun to poke the rage monster bear. Like, look how much he cares.
Yeah, you want to be close enough to see it, but not deal with it directly.
It's just like, oh God.
Like, yeah, fucking.
And then you had your mitt, so you could be like,
yeah. Oh God. Now I'm thinking about like the kind of like blow ups kids would have in the dugout. I had a couple, if I'm being honest.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't like the rage monster, but I would like. There was one game where I struck out to lose. Like it was like a playoff game, so we were like out. And I struck out to end the game, and I spiked my helmet really hard. And I think I said some words I think I yelled out a couple cuss words at like 9 years old.
Oh,
and,
9?
Yeah. I was always a pretty foul-mouthed kid, which I blame my brother for. Because I had a speech impediment, and they always used to make me, like my brother's friends and him would make me quote lines from Austin Powers. Just to hear like me say fat bastard. But I'd say like, oh, you're a fat bastard. And for the longest time, it was like, these words are fun to say. I just don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
And then I remember finding out at like 10 that bastard was a bad word. And I was like, I don't think so. I've been saying it a lot. As if
Nothing
that
has happened to me.
Yeah, nor is like, no, I've been saying a lot of slurs, and I think it's been fine. I was like, oh no, you've just been around the right crowd, maybe then, because someone's gonna tell you sooner or later that that's not okay.
Dude, the worst one that I had was, this is actually a little league story too. We had this kid on the team who he was, I swear to God, you could search America and he was the closest thing to a real life Eric Cartman that you could possibly fucking find.
Like chubby kid, like
yeah, like
foul-mouthed.
rotund. Like in
Mhm.
my mind, I know it's not true, but he was just as wide as he was tall.
Yeah, no, there is for sure. I know, yeah,
And
I
he
know the
was
kid.
fucking hilarious. He's actually like very skinny now. At least he was a little while ago, and maybe even sexy looking, if I recall.
Damn, good for him.
Yeah, it was like one of those. You're like, oh shit, you see Musa? God,
He probably has a really good like general worldview, sort of living at those two extremes.
Yeah,
From being like the real fat Eric Cartman to like this sexy guy now. That's
yeah.
he's kind of covered the bases as far as.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't even. But
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So we were kicking it one day. He was also like, he was definitely the funniest kid on the team, which is saying something because we had a very funny and fun team. And so there was one time where we were going to like watch whatever movie, maybe it was like the latest Star Wars movie, and like we're in whatever minivan and we're walking across the parking lot to get to the movie theater, and he starts doing like this hilarious little walk. Like imagine like a real life Eric Cartman, like squatting like this, doing this with his fingers, and then just pivoting and walking like this.
Dude,
God.
God.
He's like, hey. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And he's like, yeah. You're like, what is that? What are you even doing? He's like, it's called the rapist walk.
Yeah. God, when you're that young, it's like, damn, I didn't even think about that. Or it's like now it's like it's so low hanging fruit, so low level, where it's like at then you're like, damn, he really did that. Who could have? This guy's a genius. Who could have thought of that?
I don't even think he knew. I don't think anyone had any idea what a rapist were. We were like, that does look, but it's funny because all of us were like, yeah, that does seem right.
That's what they do. That's why, they're always doing that. They're always doing the fingers and the walk.
Which, can you imagine in real life?
Yeah.
If that's what they did, they either did that one or like the little like on your toes, like.
Yeah, but I feel like, at least for me, the shit like that would like give me the context that like, oh, a rapist is bad because they do this. And I just don't like the way it looks. So I'm like, yeah, that rapists are bad, or pedophiles, they look creepy. And I kind of thought that was the extent of it.
Oh,
because like I was like, yeah, I don't know. When I'm like 8 and 9, I was like, I don't know. Like I know the words, but I don't know what they really mean. Because I don't think my parents were like jumping at the opportunity to explain it to me.
Yeah, no.
You're like, no,
because if you're a parent and your kid's like 8 or 9 and you find yourself in a situation where you have to explain what a rapist is, you're like, all right,
it's probably
fuck, that means I gotta explain what sex is. God.
Yeah, and then
damn, this is a lot.
It's always that like big unpacking where I was like, I'll just know for now that rapists are bad and that they're probably doing some weird shit like this. I feel like I had one more question about Little League. Any like big, like what's your like biggest memory you have of Little League? Just to like wrap it up.
All right. Probably the biggest one. It's not like an event or anything like super exciting that happened. It's just like when I was on that super fun team, when you had to ride the bench, it was totally cool because there was that big old 300 count jar of red vines.
I forget about the snacks. Snacking is such an like integral part of baseball.
The fucking snack shack, bro.
Wow.
When they had a snack shack, and sometimes you would go a little further than normal to play whatever game, and you'd be like, this snack shack is like a snack where you guys got chili cheese dogs at your snack shack. Like not all snack shacks were created equal, which made it so awesome because they always had like your chips and your candies, and you could always rely on that.
If a snack shack has a nerd's rope, that's elite level snack. Like I'm going dumb on that. If they got like real like nachos, not like just spreaded cheese.
Yes,
like That
There were levels. Like the warm food was some crazy shit sometimes.
I feel like we had a pretty good snack shack.
Yeah, sometimes they'd have that crock pot chili to go on top of you.
Yep, for sure. We had like, I'm pretty sure we had like burgers at mine. Like we had like a proper barbecue and everything. And that is one good thing about those parents taking Little League so seriously, is that like it kind of went with everything. So I feel like we had, honestly, there was 2 years where like the jerseys league wide were like kind of nice. Like I was like, if I
it's quality.
Like I would wear my All-Star jersey, one, because I thought it was sick to do, but I wore like my All-Star jersey like to school 2 days a week, honestly.
Yo,
like I was just like, dude, it's such a sick shirt. Like, yeah,
look
like
how good everybody come see how good I look.
Yeah, like I'm dripped up right now. Like I'm nice with it. Damn, yeah. I feel like we need to switch over to debates.
Okay, let's debate. Before we do the last candy, I don't remember what it's called. There was that roll-up candy, and it had like
Fruit
sugar
by the
crystals.
Foot. No.
It was like that, and it rolled up, but it had like sugar crystals on the outside. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like better. It was better than Fruit by the Foot, because it's basically Fruit by the Foot with like added sugar.
Sugar's so good.
Yeah, but I don't.
Were you a sweet tooth kid?
Yeah. I mean, I think average, which is to say yes.
I don't do sugar like really at all now too much. But when I was like a kid, I was like a root beer fanatic.
Oh yeah.
I would like go out of my way to like look, like I treated root beer the way like douchebags treat like small craft beers. And I don't get me wrong, I like small craft beers, but like
we got Barks, we got Dad's, we got
dude,
Mug.
Yeah, no,
we got
dude, Dad, are you kidding? I fucking love Dad's root beer.
Mm-hmm. The can itself like was doing so much of the heavy lifting. Like this can just feels like good root beer can.
Yeah,
and you discovered IBC, and you're like, whoa, this one's in a glass bottle. This is nice. There's glass to this.
We just got a really good root beer at my work, and it like brought me back like to like just a good childhood feeling, because I never drink root beer. So to have it just at work to like for like taste testing, I was like, this is nice.
Yeah, man,
this is nice.
Root beer was the superior soda as a youth for me as well.
Yeah, I didn't like Barks.
No, Barks is an adult root beer. It wasn't as sweet and delicious.
Yeah, no, it was like bitter, sort of had more of that like properly like more, what's the spice? Sassafras, I think.
Yeah, it was more sassafrassy, 100%.
All right, let's get on to debates. So basically the thought is to like you enjoy the company of someone, talk about something you have in common to sort of like get closer together. And then what I love doing with like my close friends is like once you feel comfortable, you can kind of like bicker back and forth. Like you have that like feeling of like, yeah, no, we're good. But that gives me to like sort of free reign to go at your throat a little bit. And like, because we know that it's all love.
Yeah.
So we got a few debates. We'll try. I feel like we can get through all of them.
All right, let's do it.
So I gave you these before. It was would you rather die from an overdose or being murdered? And you said overdose.
Easily.
So let's unpack it a little bit and like look at the ways you can OD. And like where do you think your life would be in that case? Because I'm thinking of like the grander context of like, all right, I'm ODing. What has led me to this a little bit? And then same thing with like murder. Like, what am I doing to get murdered? What are the possibilities that I could be murdered in? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we're not thinking. Okay, I see. We're assuming that there are certain things.
Yeah.
That was adorable. Anyway, we're assuming there are certain things that happen in your life to lead to this being the logical end.
Yeah.
This isn't like a weird Black Mirror thing where you have two buttons and you're like, all right, you get to pick how you're going to die, and it's either going to be OD or murder.
Well, because both could be sort of a somewhat peaceful, immediate thing. Where it's like it's like it's out of your mind. Like I could be like just walking down the street, shot in the back of the head. There's no real like feeling to it, but at the same time, I also don't want to like discredit
But
Oh,
if
if I'm
you
being
OD,
murdered,
it's because you got too high.
or
That's so fucking dope.
but it's also like but there's like fentanyl poisoning too, where
Oh,
it's
does
like
that suck?
that sucks.
Oh, what happens with fentanyl poisoning?
Well, I mean, I think I don't know like the kind of death, but like you're not looking that's not the kind of high you're going for. Like if you're doing coke and you want to like get a little buzz going on, then all of a sudden you're like kind of freaking out, foaming at the mouth, and you've ruined the party for your friends, and you kind of like watch it happen in real time.
Yeah.
That'd probably be a bummer of like a way to go out, I feel.
Oh, okay, fair enough. You know, when you asked me about the OD thing, I realized I was specifically and literally thinking about doing too much heroin.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Seems pretty cool.
yeah, I think that's the wet dream of ODing.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm just a cool party guy and I'm chilling out until I'm chilled out.
Until I'm dead.
I'm chill as it can be.
I'm as good as it's gonna get, and then I die. Like I was thinking about it. Like I was reading this sci-fi book. Details not important. They're going on a suicide mission, a la Armageddon. But because it was a one-way trip, they knew they were gonna die out there.
So they got fucked up.
So they were like, "Hey, you gonna die," and so you can all decide like how you want to go. And so like one guy was like, "Just give me a gun, because that way if something happens to someone, I can pop them, and then I'll just off myself." Someone wanted to go with like a carbon dioxide poisoning or something like that, where like you just eventually pass out, but you don't. Whatever inert gas it was, you don't feel like you're suffocating.
Yeah, you're sort of just breathing, and it gets a little bit hard. Yeah.
It doesn't even get harder. You just breathe, and then you pass out, and then you die, like with whatever gas, because they were all scientists and shit. And then one person, I think it was like the Russian chick that liked to drink a lot. She was like, "I would like the best heroin."
Yeah, just like
And this was like an existential crisis, like for the globe. And she's like, "Just to be clear, I understand we have the resources of the world at our disposal.
The best heroin.
Don't fuck me."
Yeah. Okay.
And also, I don't want to just OD on heroin. I want you to put out a regiment so I can get high on heroin like 4 or 5 times before I OD on heroin.
Yeah.
Give me the heroin. I was like, damn, if you're going to die, especially if you're going to die saving the planet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, that's peak OD. Like that is as good as an OD.
I was thinking about the best possible OD death.
Yeah. And now I still like, I'm going to go for murder because I feel like there could be like some sort of valor in murder. Because the valor there is that you're doing something outside of just ODing. And being killed, I feel like there could be some sort of heroic journey that is in direct effect to your murder.
Oh, you think someone like wants to kill you because you've been fucking shit up?
Yeah.
Because you're an adversary?
Yeah, it's that.
You thinking that you have ops in this scenario?
Yeah, for sure. I'm saying you have your best case scenario. I have mine. I think it's a fair point to look at how good, because you're not just saying, it's one button or the other. You're looking at a range of things here. I think that's a fair take on it.
Okay, but all right, if we're debating OD or murder, why would you want to go out murdering? In the same situation, you could have the exact same ops, but then you could just OD and die, and then you were high, and then you died instead of just getting popped. And if you get popped, that also means that like they win. That means they got what they wanted. Not
necessarily.
That's exactly what that means.
No,
they wanted to kill you, and then they did.
You're saying that, like, you think of like a heroic death in a movie. You're saying that they usually win when that happens, when like you get in sort of a last.
I'm saying you definitely didn't win.
That's not necessarily true, because it can be like Armageddon, where it's like, oh, I'm going into. Actually, I haven't seen Armageddon, but I know that's like a.
Yeah, we know what happened. There was an asteroid that drilled down, blew it up. Yeah. Someone died, maybe, probably.
But it's something where it's like maybe some sort of like war movie or anything like against the enemy, where it's like I'm gonna fly into like the enemy's, like the aliens' enemy ship in like Independence Day.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Where it's like a blaze of fire. You're fucking going out. In your heart of hearts, you're doing the right thing, and it's like. Fucking pistols in the air. You're fucking like. You're winning. Like I think that is probably the best way you could do it. If you're like, if you get, yeah, I think going in like out in sort of like a blaze of glory sort of thing.
Okay, so your murder heroine is blaze of glory.
I think that's the best it could be. Is like knowing that you're dying for some greater cause.
But that's the other thing, though. If you're dying for a greater cause, you just hope you're dying for, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to see how, like, you are killing yourself in hopes that that's going to be like, it's like you're like the cue ball, but you never get to see if the 8-ball went in or not. And you're pretty sure it's going, but you have no way of knowing that the 8-ball is going in.
I disagree, because I think it's whatever that last snapshot is. I mean, I don't know. This is more of a.
I mean, you can psych yourself up to believe it. That's probably the only way that you can actually get yourself to go out in a blaze of glory.
But you're talking about like an existential thing where it's like, does death feel good? Like, does the actual act of like when you pass over into whatever it might be, whatever hormones get released when you actually die, is that good or is that bad?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, if your goal is I'm going to sacrifice myself for the greater good, friends or whatever, like that is the appeal of this death. Yes. Is you're like, I'm going to like, even though I'm dying, like I'm still going to win and we're still going to win. But what I'm saying, is that accurate?
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
What I'm saying is you have no way of knowing that. You don't know. You think that your sacrifice is going to do what it needs to do?
No, there is context in where you would like know, where it's like if I walk in with a grenade sort of thing, or if I walk in.
Okay. All right.
I guess that's I'll cede that point because that's cheating. I think getting, because that's a suicide. That's a suicide. That's not murder at that point.
I know. Well, it's a murder-suicide, but fair enough. It's not. It's not in the parameters.
No,
it's not in the parameters. Okay, fair enough.
It's a debate, and I want to be. I want to have some honor to it. So I won't count that. But they're like simple, but it doesn't have to be that scenario. Like you're going out, and you know that if they do this sort of thing, then like we will. Like it's just that last snapshot is what I want. Whereas like I feel like if I'm
grin, that little shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
Like, tell Maria she's a cunt.
Yeah, and then boom, right then you're good. And I feel like with an OD, you're just like, and then like kind of just dumb. Like I wonder even if at the point of like ODing, do you even get to actually? Now I'll be honorable here. I shouldn't even be giving you this point, but I feel like, have you ever seen like a video or heard of something where like people will like Narcan someone when they're ODing? But then they get upset because it's like, you just fucked up my high. And it was like, you were going to die. And it was like, that's not important. Now I have to go get more heroin. and I shouldn't given you that point, but it's a fun thing to say.
But here's the other thing is like, also from the outside, yes. Like if you're in that situation, someone has to Narcan you, it's far from glorious and you do look dumb and pitiful, and just pitiful is a good word for
it.
Yeah.
It's not great.
But the glory that you feel on the inside is very real, and you would not give a shit what people think. You're not even going to be here to think about what they think. You're just going to go out feeling fucking fantastic. Like feeling so good and no fear. I mean, I guess there's something to be said about I conquered my fear to save my friends, family, loved one, country, whatever. But like you just fucking bliss and then death? Come on now. How are you going to deny yourself a blissful death? Given the opportunity.
So what you said with the sci-fi thing, I think that is nice. Where you sort of get best of both worlds a little bit, where it's like,
oh well, yeah,
I am doing the right thing, but I'm also like, all right, this is how I'm gonna go out.
This is my reward. The other thing that scares me about going out in a blaze of glory is like time is so subjective that like the pain would only last for like a second or 5 seconds or how long it takes you to die. But at the same time, that might feel like a really long time.
Yes. Okay. Another thing is, I think if there is some sort of blaze of glory thing that I'm like a part of, I'm thinking like, have you seen, Walter White,
the Breaking
Bad. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. Have you seen it?
No, I've seen one episode. I was like, this show is too intense for me.
Oh, really? So you don't care if I spoil it?
Oh, no, I don't care at all.
in the end, he sort of has like a death wish. He has cancer also,
Mhm.
which you know in the first episode, but
Yeah.
it's like, in the last episode, he like gets shot and he's like kind of at peace with it, knowing that like he got to do this fun thing. He got to be this drug lord.
Mhm.
And now there's not like, does it get stale? Do I have to legitimize my, it's like, it's
Mhm.
done.
Yeah.
I think that's another way where like being murdered could be like, that was cool. That was a cool thing I did. I
Oh,
was
so
like,
he won?
no,
the end?
he kind of, in a way.
Like he his death wish got fulfilled.
Yeah, well, the not through like the entire season, but it's like he's also kind of in a state where like he's already going to die.
Uh-huh.
Like he has like cancer.
Yeah.
And so he kind of takes that as an opportunity to like live a life he wouldn't otherwise.
Uh-huh.
And also there's like social commentary where it's like he has to sell all these drugs to pay for health insurance, to pay for treatment, blah, 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 blah. But in the end, he just enjoys being a drug lord because it's fun. And I'm saying that with like murder, it would be more fun. Like it's like I got to do some wild shit, and that's why someone is shooting me in the head right now. Like that.
Oh, that's your murder scenario. Basically, you turned real life into a video game, but it was real life.
Yeah.
But you lived it like San Andreas.
Yeah. I think the part of what is that murder is the rush before. Similar to the rush you'd get from ODing. You get this blissful, sort of orgasmic, sort of just, and then it's the release.
Oh, all right. It's a fair point, but also does living like a bananas crazy life like that appeal to you? I haven't seen Breaking Bad, but in that scenario, it feels like you lived a very stressful life where there are a lot of decisions that had to be made. The one episode that I saw, which I only saw like 20 or 30 minutes of it, was like some Mexican dude in his basement, and they were trying to figure out like if they were going to kill him, and if they had to kill him, and they're like, I can't kill him. We got to kill him. We're just going to leave him. And I don't remember if he killed him or not. In fact, I think I left before we found out.
Yeah.
But like, I assume there were a lot of scenarios like that. Like, was he having a good time?
So when he starts, it's all like, it is scary because he's still, just plain old Walter White sort of thing. He's a science teacher. But like, as he gets deeper into it, there is sort of like this sadistic, like, I like the evil that comes with it.
I like being the bad guy.
I will say, realistically, if I had to choose, I don't want either, but I would choose murder because I think I would enjoy the rush of like doing crazy shit rather than just doing drugs.
Oh,
Like I think I enjoy like the rush of like an activity more than I do of like a sort of state of being.
Oh, this makes. Well, now you've taken all the wind out of my sails. Now I don't even feel like debating this anymore.
All right,
we're just different people. I love not doing anything, so this makes a lot of sense.
So do I, but yeah, I think ultimately it does come down. I mean, yeah, it's ultimately like a preferential thing, but that was a fun debate.
I also like that we got to the bottom of why our preferences are what they are.
Yeah.
At the very end.
Yeah, no, that's why, because I think we could have just been like, if you're just picking between the buttons, it's, there's there, but like you don't get to uncover like, oh yeah, that's why. Because I didn't know when I started that argument that I was like, oh yeah, I want to be murdered because I'd love to do some crazy shit before I go out, sort of thing. Like there's that element to it. Nice. Connor, how much time do we have left? You're at 7 o'clock. Oh yeah. You know what? We can wrap it up there. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any plugs that you want?
Oh man, do I have any plugs? I don't know. I do stand-up comedy. If y'all want to check me out, I'm at Stand Up New York, The Grizzly Pear, The Tiny Cupboard, and one more that I'm forgetting right now. But anyway, or you can follow me on Instagram where I post where my shows are at Ryan Thomas Comedy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. And that'll do it. Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you for listening to Common Enemies. Good night.